People want to be in Bath for the location. You've got everything that a large city will offer, but in such a peaceful location that really does carry a premium.
If we're looking for a real sort of investor product that actually works, very hard to find in Bath.
Bath is considered one of the safest cities in the UK. I don't think Bath really compares to anywhere else. It's super unique.
So today's video is about Bath as a property investment city. And I think Bath is often seen as a picturesque lifestyle city, but this conversation is specifically about Bath as a serious place to invest in property. We're going to focus on demand, risk, why people continue to put money into Bath long term, and we're going to talk a little bit about Berkeley's first entry into the market. So today I'm joined by Carol Redding, who is Regional Sales Manager at Berkeley, Oxford and Chiltern. Perhaps, Carol, you could first tell us a little bit about your role at Berkeley and how this fits with Berkeley's upcoming launch of One Waterside in Bath.
Thank you for the intro. I manage both One Waterside Bath developments and Abbey Barn Park in High Wycombe. So I'm sort of centrally located between the two. And my role really is to sort of work on the strategy with the sales teams on site to drive sales. And it's, I suppose, the whole delivery of the experience. So that's from the very sort of launch of the development, marketing suite experience and design. So we're heavily involved in that, down to pricing and marketing. And so it's a very, very varied role. So really, I suppose you're almost like an operations manager on each of the developments you work on.
And so bringing this to focus in on Bath, what do you think was Berkeley's motivation to actually enter the Bath market?
So as you're aware, Berkeley specialise in regeneration of brownfield sites. So the opportunity for the Bath development, so it's a former gas holder site, which had been derelict since the late 70s. And it was an excellent opportunity to build in a heritage city where there is obviously restrictions on how much you can build there. With the waterfront location, it was just an amazing opportunity for us and for us to expand our portfolio into the southwest. And Bath is one of the most desirable places to live. So it was just a really good opportunity for us. So really happy that we've gone out to Bath.
Like you said, Berkeley are specialists in brownfield regeneration. I mean, we've done a lot of work on one of your other sites, as you know, the Halo in central London, which has been an amazing site to work on. And I think for us as a property investment company, going out there, trying to find opportunities that we really like the look of to put in front of our investors, we had been looking at Bath for a long time, years actually, because we've invested all around the UK. But we wanted something in Bath, which we'll come on to talking a bit more exactly why we wanted that. But again, as you sort of touched on, there's not loads of supply. If you're going to go in there, and particularly if we're looking for a real sort of investor product that actually works on the financials, very hard to find in Bath. But then when we knew that Berkeley was coming into the market, who've obviously worked on some amazing schemes, that whole brownfield regen play on something that was, I guess, a little bit of an eyesore, but has an unbelievable location on the River Avon.
Absolutely.
When we saw that was happening, that was something we really wanted to get involved with. So on that, in terms of how Bath and One Waterside shapes up as an investment product, for a property investor who's buying their first investment or they're adding to a portfolio, how would you say, in your experience, Bath as a location compares to some of the other schemes that you've overseen in the past or work on currently?
So I think there's lots of factors to that question. So I think that you touched on supply and demand. So we'd mentioned that Bath is a UNESCO World Heritage City. Because of that, there is sort of a restriction on future development, and that's to protect the views, the heritage, and the character of the city. So there is limited opportunity for new build property. You've got a huge rental demand there, and that will be from a variety of, people that study at the universities, for example, and then decide to stay on. As you're aware, there's a huge tourism in Bath, which is fantastic for the economy. But there was also a real post-pandemic surge of people moving out of the likes of London, for example, because they wanted that lifestyle opportunity. And it's something that I refer to quite a lot, in that Bath is kind of like an elevated lifestyle. You've got everything that a large city will offer in a smaller location, and you're completely surrounded by, open green space.
Mm-hmm.
So there's, a lot of parks within Bath. You're on the southern border of the Cotswolds as well, which, as we all know, again, is a super desirable location in the UK. Bath benefits from all of that. So you've got the limited supply with a great demand there. You've also got the two major universities, so University of Bath and Bath Spa University. So you've got a high number of students in the area, but again, with limited student accommodation.
Yeah.
Some of the people that are looking to buy with us, they're actually looking to buy property for their children who are going to be studying at either university.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got a huge number of students that are looking to live in the area. There's a limited student accommodation. So again, they are then exploring the private rental sector.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've also got young professionals who will, be living in Bath for a period of time, so will look to rent. So there's a real variety of renters in Bath. And actually what we have found, and this is working with local lettings agents as well, is that it's a really good quality tenant.
Yeah.
And they tend to be very long term with minimal void periods, because people want to be in Bath for the location. So that, for me, is one of the sort of key attractions for investors in Bath.
Absolutely. I think any project that we look at, almost the first thing you look at is supply and demand.
Mm-hmm.
What does the supply look like? What's in the pipeline? As you said, it's very difficult to actually build in Bath because there's all sorts of planning restrictions, getting planning permission, very challenging, hence why, there is such a restricted supply. And then you're looking on the other side of it, what's the demand? Who actually wants to live there? And I think if we were to compare this to other places around the UK, because I think any investor, when they first look at this, they're not just looking at Bath. Some are. Okay, they might have just been looking for Bath. But a lot of people generally are comparing it to other things they're looking at. I spoke with someone only a week or so ago, and they were comparing Bath with Manchester and Liverpool.
Yes.
And I sort of said, it's not like for like.
Absolutely not.
You've got to compare. What are you actually comparing it to? And there's not, I don't know, maybe you got the answer to that. What, if you were to compare Bath to something else, is there something else you've worked on that it's similar to?
I would say no. I'd say Bath is such a unique location because it's got so much going for it. And I think one of the key things that I always come back to with our purchasers or people inquiring in Bath is the safety element.
Yeah.
So Bath is considered one of the safest cities in the UK based on crime rates. And I think if you're looking to invest there, that's offers reassurance and a bit of security. If you're looking to rent there, again, that's something that would be important to me and that would be high on my priority list.
Yeah.
And especially any parents that are looking for their children to attend a university, that again would be top of my priority list. So I think that's something that is key when you're looking and comparing Bath to other cities.
Yeah.
It's also a very clean city. You've got the character there. So you've got the Georgian architecture and even obviously buildings like the Roman baths that date back way further back. So it's just got that real charm and character. But also I think Bath has its own very unique identity in that it's got, you've got your independent boutique shops and independent restaurants. So you've also got chains too, but it's just its own little sort of microclimate. And I think that really does draw a sort of desirability. And again, as I mentioned earlier, the proximity to the likes of, the Cotswolds, which is extremely desirable and sort of picture postcard aesthetic as well.
Yeah.
It's just an amazing place to be. So I don't think Bath really compares to anywhere else. It's super unique.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think that's exactly why we wanted something in Bath, because we've taken our investors to Manchester, Liverpool, Leeds. the aim is to build a diversified portfolio. So getting something in Bath does exactly that. And I think all of the points that you've mentioned there, it's when investors are looking at this, and I think people are tuning into this more, rather than just looking at an opportunity and going straight to financials, you need to think about the full equation, which is, okay, it needs to look good on paper in terms of my entry into the market, quality of the asset of what I'm actually buying. But on the other side of that, who is renting it? Where's the demand for who's going to live there? And like you said, generally in these sorts of areas, very good quality tenants, which means your property's looked after, you have lower void periods, which will give you a better return over the long term as well.
Absolutely.
Versus a lower quality tenant in some locations that might not look after the place, and you've got all sorts of sort of hidden costs there that you didn't account for at the outset. So I think it's really important to look at both sides, not just what am I buying, but what's demand on the other side of who's going to live there, and what's my exit? Because I think that's the other side of this, that there's probably quite a diverse range of buyers in terms of who's looking for this. You've already touched on it a little bit in terms of, obviously you might have parents who are buying for kids, so kids going to the university, but then it's also a long-term asset they're going to hold. You said downsizers. Anyone else, or any sort of particular areas where you're getting a lot of inquiries? Like, where are the buyers generally coming from?
So again, it's extremely varied. So I'd say on the sort of lower value properties, so the ones in the 2 beds, we've our inquiries and purchases so far. You've got your first-time buyers or second-time buyers that are professionals. They might only need to go into London maybe once a week or a couple of times a week. And obviously it's super accessible from Bath Spa Station. You can actually get to Paddington in 1 hour and 16 minutes, which is so, accessible. So you've got the professionals. We've also had inquiries from people that work for the universities or work for the hospital. Yeah. So there's a real sort of like employment hub in respect of that.
Yeah.
We also have a number of downsizers, and the reason we have so many downsizers that are inquiring at Bath is they might already be in a grade 2 listed townhouse, closer to the centre of Bath, and actually they don't want the 3 flights of stairs. They don't want the back garden to maintain, and there's the ongoing maintenance cost of period properties, that actually buying a new build just makes so much more sense. And because of our location, we're 15 minutes flat walk into the centre, which again, Bath is, as you know, it's quite hilly in areas. So we really benefit from this flat walk into the city centre. You've got Oldfield Park Station, which is a 10-minute walk away. So if you wanted to go on to Bristol, or if you actually wanted to get the train into Bath Spa Station, it's a 10-minute walk. It's just really, really accessible. And then the real unique part about One Waterside, which is obviously why it has its name, is that we're right on the River Avon. So the initial blocks that we've launched overlook the River Avon, which is super scarce. Yeah. There's very little opportunity to have genuine water facing property. So again, it's just a really unique offering that we've got here.
Yeah, I think it's a really good point you made. It's on both sides. So you've got the downsizers or owner-occupiers who are living in properties in the classic Georgian Bath stone buildings that look amazing.
Yes.
But like you say, they might be fed up for multiple reasons, whether it's the stairs, garden, or actually the big one is maintenance.
Yes.
And that's a really big one for us, again, as an investment company, when we're appraising these sorts of opportunities, those ongoing costs, what that might look like over the long term, that's another reason that we do a lot of work with new builds.
Yes.
So if we're going into Bath and where we can't get it to stack up on paper in the lovely Bath stone Georgian townhouses, that just doesn't work.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whereas going into something like this, where you are far more de-risked, you've got much better foresight in terms of what your costs are going to look like going forward. You're buying into something brand new. You've not got a roof that could suddenly go 2 years later after you buy it, or a boiler,
exactly,
or anything like that.
Yeah,
which obviously plays a massive part in the financial aspect.
Yeah, and it's even the ongoing running costs as well in relation to If you're looking at period properties, are they single glazed? Are they well insulated? Is it going to cost you hundreds of pounds to heat your property?
Yeah.
So I think they're all key things that do come into when you're looking at like the overall as well, for renters especially, is something that's really important, and that drives that attraction to new build as well.
Yeah. So looking at the capital growth opportunity, Savills are projecting 22% price growth by 2029. Looking at pricing at One Waterside, what would you say is the opportunity there for buyers right now?
So I think the fantastic opportunity, and this is one of the things that is really attractive about Berkeley, is that we will offer up properties off plan.
Yeah.
Other developers, some of the mainstream developers might only release properties 6 months prior to completion, whereas we're going quite far off plan. So our initial completions at One Waterside, they're due to complete in Q3 2027.
Yeah.
However, the pricing at the moment was priced in 2025. So you've got almost 2 years worth of capital growth. So it's a great opportunity to fix in your price now. And by the time you get to the point of completion, the value has already gone up. So it's such a great opportunity.
Yeah, and I think it's a whole nother topic that I won't go into too much right now, but in terms of interest rates, it's been
Absolutely.
a very challenging market the last 2-3 years, higher rate environment. We're seeing rates starting to come down.
Yeah.
These are the exact opportunities where, like you just said, you're locking in price 2025 pricing into a Berkeley scheme, premium builder, FTSE 100 property developer, and you're buying into an environment where rates are coming down. So you play that out 2 years from now, where a price is going to be in 2027. Now, no one knows for sure, but generally as rates come down, more buyers enter the market, and that pushes values up.
Absolutely.
Particularly in areas where there's not enough supply and waterfront property.
Yeah.
So you're kind of hitting so many different angles here.
It's the sweet spot, really, I think. And it's such a unique opportunity for owner-occupiers and investors, because you are securing at that early price, at that 2025 price. We do predict that house prices will rise. And again, looking from an investment perspective, year on year, we are seeing a growth in rental values. So the rental yields will continue to improve by the time you complete on this property. So that's what makes it just such a good opportunity to reserve now. And that would be potentially ahead of our launch on the 31st of January is our full launch. So we will be going live to the world. So yeah, it's a really great opportunity to reserve early.
One sort of final question here, and really we've provided the answers to this, or you've provided the answers to this, but sort of playing devil's advocate here. When you do look at a Berkeley scheme and it's a premium developer and it's a waterfront development, some people don't always take that into consideration. They go straight to pricing and they go, where is this priced in the marketplace? Where do you see this priced in the marketplace? And for those that might say there's too much of a premium on it for, and putting waterside property to one side, or they're saying it's not worth it for the waterside property, what would kind of your response be to that based on your experience and what you've seen in the market and where demand generally comes from?
So when we come to pricing any scheme, we go through various iterations of pricing that development. So I think by the time we launched or soft launched One Waterside, we were possibly on version 8 or 9 of pricing.
Yeah.
It's something that's constantly moving, and we will adapt to the market. And we take a lot into consideration. So we'll look at what's currently on the market. We'll look at previous sold values. And then we'll obviously also look at the uniqueness of our plots and, are they facing onto the water? And yes, water-facing plots do carry a genuine premium, and that is mostly down to scarcity. There are very limited plots available that face onto the water, but actually it's genuine demand.
Yeah.
We've seen across developments that we've built on historically that the water-facing plots do tend to reserve earliest, and they do reserve at a premium.
Yeah.
And it might sound cliche, but there is a genuine desire to sort of have that closeness to nature. You don't have passing traffic or passing foot traffic in front of your property. It's that tranquility. And I think, again, going back to the uniqueness of our location, we are just on the edge of a very vibrant, bustling city, but actually it's so peaceful in our location. And it's a 15-minute walk along the river into the city centre. And you wouldn't guess that you are in this, huge, busy hub.
Yeah.
So I think that is like the main appeal about this development. You've got all the convenience and everything, the elevated lifestyle that Bath as a city has to offer, but in such a peaceful location that really does carry a premium.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think the premium that you pay, you're going to get that back. It's going to give you plenty of options on exit. You don't just see that in Bath, you see that across the board. Thanks, Carol. Loads of useful insights.
Thank you.
And I think there's always more to chat about. So I think for anyone who would like to find out more, there's going to be a link below to get in touch with the Source team, and we'll be happy to share further details with you. Thanks very much.